Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Politics with Sherry Jacobus. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're not yet a subscriber and you like what we do here, I hope you'll hit that button and also engage. Would love to hear from you in the comments. So Trump is having a bad week. We all are. If Trump's having a bad week, then I don't know. I guess, is that a good week for us or a bad week for us? It depends is the answer. So this week, we've seen him. I'm using actually working from a tweet from my friend Robert George just because he encapsulates it. He said, so in this week, Trump was forced to back down on his opposition to releasing the Epstein files. Trump pushed the Trump pushed Comey prosecution imploded. Remember his beauty pageant U.S. attorney that he appointed, Lindsay Halligan. She didn't really have an indictment. Now he fired her predecessor because they looked at the Comey stuff and said, there's nothing here. We don't have enough for an indictment. So he fires that person, brings her in. She just makes it up, doesn't even show it to the grand jury. This is the short version. She could be disbarred for this. The judge just ripped her a new one. And so Trump goes out there and praises her. These are people who I said yesterday should be, if we can't do anything about them legally when Trump is gone, we need to shun them for life and make sure they don't work because they can't harm any people anymore. So he also, the Trump ordered, the Trump pushed Texas redistricting was repudiated by a Trump judge. Okay. And so what we're seeing is that Trump judges don't always do what Trump appointed judges don't always obey. They don't always do what he orders them to do unless they're corrupt. Now, others will, his lawyers will. And we talked about these idiots that he hires that could never get close to these jobs in any other administration. They'll do anything. I mean, look at Pam Bondi. She's so confident. I mean, this woman is doing things that should land her in jail for the rest of her life. Okay, in prison. So these are all the things that happened to Trump this week. Also, keep in mind that the Republican legislators in Indiana and Kansas also refused to impose to do the illegal, unconstitutional gerrymandering midterm. He wanted them to just go in and create these congressional seats to help ensure that Republicans would win the midterms. If you can't win with your ideas, you just cheat and you just redraw the lines and do them in such a way so that, you know, Republicans just almost automatically get extra House seats. So looks like they can't do it in Texas. They're not going to do it in Indiana. They're not going to do it in Kansas. But the voters did vote to do it in California. So, you know, Trump may have over-egged his pudding on this one, right? But what I like about this is it shows that Republicans are Democrats and Republicans are fighting. Republicans out in the states are fighting. What's important about these state legislators going against Trump, they are closer to the people than the Congress, than the House of Representatives are. They know that Trump is wildly unpopular now, even with some MAGA. Remember, he's got the lowest approval ratings of any president in the first 100 days in 80 years since they started tracking this stuff. The next lowest was his own in his first term. So we've said this before, when the people start turning, remember, the House of Representatives has to answer to their people. When they stop fearing Trump, they start fearing their constituents. And we've seen that now with the Epstein vote. Although, let's face it, Trump has had those things scrubbed. This was a government shutdown designed to stall a vote like this so that they had the ability to scrub the files and alter them and get Trump out of them. Okay? These files that Kash Patel lied about. Kash Patel, the FBI director, should be in prison for what he's done, lying under oath to Congress, you know, for perjury, among other things. So, in light of all of this, so you think you think that Trump would be like, okay, people don't like what I'm doing here. I better start cleaning up my act. No, what he does is exposes himself even more. So some Democrats in Congress got together and did a video for our military saying, you do not have to obey unconstitutional, illegal orders from the commander-in-chief. Your oath is to our Constitution and to our country to serve us, to protect and defend the country and the Constitution, not a king. And because they did this, Trump is not panicking. He sent his goon, Stephen Miller, out there to say, this is sedition. Trump is now saying, uh, it's on Truth Social. He's calling for the arrest of Democratic members of Congress who made the video, urging the military to refuse illegal orders. And he's called for them to be executed. He said, it's called seditious behavior at the highest level. This is what he wrote on Truth Social. Each one of these traitors to our country should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. We won't have a country anymore. An example must be set. President DJT. And then he also then was calling for them to be executed. Executed. So we know he believes this. We know he wants this. And I think what he's really trying to do is he wants there to be somebody, not even a formal execution. I think he wants an assassination. When he talks like this, he puts the lives of these people in danger. He knows it. He knows it. Remember, January 6th, be there. It'll be wild. And now we know that he paid for a lot of that. And he wanted Mike Pence to be hung, to be assassinated. He wanted the same for Nancy Pelosi. He knew. And when they were going through the security, the metal detectors for his little rally before the January 6th insurrection by his domestic terrorists, remember, he didn't want them to have to put his people through there because he said, they're not, if they have guns, they're not after me. So he knew they had weapons. He knew that he was sending them down to the Capitol with weapons, but he didn't want them to be turned away from getting close to the stage while he was speaking, well, with the big glass in front of it, of course, because he even said that to someone, they're not after him. So he knew, and he basically said it. He knew they had weapons. He knew those weapons weren't going to be turned on him. He knew he was sending them to the Capitol, and he knew that they would try and use their weapons. And, I think he knew a lot more than we know. What all did he pay for? Did he pay for the pipe bombs? But we know this week that he did pay. So rather than clean up his act, he doubles down, but he exposes himself by calling for the execution of people who are talking against him. There's nothing illegal about telling service members that they don't have to obey illegal orders. It's an educational move. And I think that we should all be echoing it. So for the service members who haven't seen the video or heard about it, I think we should all echo that message. Let Trump come after all of us and say, oh, it's sedition. You need to be executed. What's he going to do? Execute everybody? I don't think that would work out for him. But this is who he is. But again, the good news is, I'll go back to this, are the Republicans in the state legislatures of Kansas and Indiana saying no to Trump about gerrymandering new seats for him. First of all, I think a lot of Republicans would like to get rid of him. If they no longer fear him, they don't want this albatross around their neck. Remember, I've said this before, when Nancy Pelosi decided not to impeach Trump for 10 counts of obstruction of justice in the Mueller report, they thought that he'd be a little bit nervous about all this, and now he backed down. No, it emboldened him. If you're going to take him on, you have to take him all the way on. You have to, like the state legislators, they said no to him. I think Republicans and Democrats in Congress are still a little shaky about this. Democrats are not doing everything they could. And we have to be honest about that. We have to be honest about the past 10 years. Now, a lot of it was naivety, but we can't use that excuse anymore. This is a man who said, I can stand on Fifth Avenue and shoot someone and not lose any support. And he said that when he was running for president the first time. He means it. We know he means it. And we have to act like he means it. So I see Democrats and Republicans, Democrats out in the states. We see the governors, we see other people and individual members of Congress, House and Senate members really doing a lot to fight him. But as a group, they're not. Remember those daily press briefings I've been calling for in the Capitol? As a congressional function with all the press there just waiting for something, hit the same news cycles, have a high profile person like Pete Buttigieg be the person to do the fact checking on this administration, so that every time you see Trump or Carolyn Leavitt on camera or streaming this, you're feeding this out. First of all, I think it would be covered by everybody because they're all right there in the Capitol and they've all been kicked out of the White House, a lot of them. But it's also something that people with podcasts and everything could be using. People would be using it, with their little Facebook fights. And all of us need these tools. I think we have accepted that, we're it. There's nobody coming to save us. We're it. We have to save ourselves. So give us the tools to do it. Trump is escalating his violent rhetoric. Believe him. The fact that he did this to Comey, all right, to John Bolton, and to others, he means it. He will eventually have a Democrat who spoke out against him, who didn't do anything illegal. He just said, make an example out of him. He will do it. He will have the executions conducted. So this video that these Democratic members of Congress, House and Senate members did is critical because it is important that we set the stage now so that people who are given these illegal orders know they can disobey them, ignore them, and tell them how they can and where to get some protection. Because someday, and we don't know when that day will, but it could come very soon, Trump could do this and literally order the execution of a political detractor. And if you don't think that he's not capable of this, we've talked about this in this space before. When you hear something about him, you don't know if it's true or not, but you look at it and that could never happen. That's a tinfoil hat conspiracy. The first thing we need to ask ourselves when it comes to Trump, not, what's the evidence? Say, is he capable of doing this? Of what we're talking about? And if he is, and if you, we've been around him enough now, we have him for 10 years. If yes, he is capable of it, probably even itching to do it. That is how we have to operate on that information. Don't deny it. Don't hide from it because it's scary. Accept that we are in this situation. Because I think too often we want to hide under a rock. Trump is now talking about executing people who are holding him to account. Think about that.